Hi guys, it's Ben from 2X PlayStation. How's everyone doing? This is the first bit of gameplay footage I've taken from my PlayStation Classic. And what a journey we've had with this thing. In this video I'm basically going to talk about how I think BleemSync 1.0 has pretty much transformed this thing and made it massively worthwhile. Before I do that, there are a couple of gripes that I wanted to mention. It's probably, well, it's very unlikely that you've managed to miss the negativity that's been going on about this system. The first thing that I would say is that I put this system on my Christmas list because I thought it'd be an awesome thing to unwrap something nostalgic on Christmas Day, and it was. It was incredible to see like an original PlayStation almost there on Christmas Day, like I'd just gone back 10 years or something. But if you were an early adopter like me, and you asked one of your relatives to get it for you for Christmas, they will have paid £90. Now £90, I'm not necessarily saying that it's not worth £90. I think that in its current state it probably is, if you think about the fact that the system is very, very good build quality in terms of the plastic and the two controllers that are very good. You know, fair enough. I think it's a bit steep, but okay. But the thing that really annoyed me was as soon as Christmas Day had passed, the system's dropped to being £50. Now £50 is an absolute bargain for this in my opinion, and I think it's really, really great if you waited and now can pick one up for that price. It's, without a doubt, it's worth that. But how do you think that made people feel who got one you know, straight away at release? It makes us feel kind of cheap, kind of sad. And I remember when I was at home, like just after Christmas, my mum was on her iPad and I didn't know what she was looking at, but she sort of breathed a sigh of frustration, was like, oh, something that I got for Christmas is now a lot cheaper. And it was probably that she was looking at the PlayStation Classic. And I don't really think that's fair. I think it's really harsh to kind of try to capitalize on people's Christmas wishes and kind of rip them off in a way, charge them something that you don't really think the system is worth. You obviously don't, because you dropped the price so quickly. I think it would have been a bit less unpleasant if they'd maybe gone for a halfway house. You know, had it a little bit more expensive than it is now, but a little bit less expensive for the people who ordered it straight away. Like say maybe if it was like 60 quid and then it dropped to 50 quid or something. That would be a little bit less galling, but that's just a minor pet peeve. When I got the system, straight out of the box, I gotta say, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think that there is an issue on YouTube and on the internet that people kind of get onto bandwagons, and once people had started the negativity, it really did carry on, and I think it just became kind of popular to knock the system. So I think a lot of people were knocking it without playing it and focusing on nitpicky little things. I do get the whole PAL versus NTSC thing, and I do think it was a really bizarre choice that Sony didn't just go for NTSC versions of everything. People have speculated why they did that, and you know, it probably was something to do with trying to obtain the ROMs quickly and something to do with licensing. But you know, in this day and age, people expect 60 frames per second. Now, that said, I always have felt that people are a little bit nitpicky and annoying when it comes to discussing frame rates of games. Some of the people I used to watch, like Total Biscuit was famous for it, seemed to be so fixated on frame rates, and I've got to say it's one of my it's just something that I'm kind of not that bothered about. And I think anybody who's like me and grew up in the UK or PAL territories and grew up on games running at 50 Hz and not 60 frames per second probably feels similarly to me, which is we're just not really all that bothered. The games kind of looked how I remember them as a kid, so it just didn't bother me that much, and I thought it was actually really playable straight out of the box. And I actually played loads and loads of Grand Theft Auto when I first started playing it, because this was a game that just absolutely wowed me as a kid, that I was obsessed with. And I've really, really enjoyed going back and playing games that I used to be kind of crap at when I was a kid. I'm just playing them better. I've got actually very far in Grand Theft Auto for the first time in years. I'm like up to the 5th stage, which was something as a kid I could never manage. And the other thing that was fun for me was finally sitting down with games that I knew I should have played more of. In particular, stuff like Resident Evil, which, you know, I know full well is an incredible game, but as a kid, it just bypassed me, probably because it was a kind of game that my parents wouldn't really have liked me playing, with it being all zombie and spooky and stuff. That just wasn't my parents' kind of thing, so I probably as a kid felt a bit shy of playing it. So this, I think the game selection is great. There are some, I think that people complaining about the game selection, to me, I don't really get it. I think if you bought the system for 90 quid and you played the games that are obviously great, so say you played all the way through Final Fantasy VII, Wild Arms, Grand Theft Auto, Resident Evil and Metal Gear Solid, you've arguably had 90 quid's worth of entertainment. I mean, that's hours and hours of gameplay. Yes, there are some questionable games on there that I'm not that into. But anyway, out of the box, I was pretty pleased with it. Just slightly upset by the fact that I felt like my mum got a little bit ripped off. Not ripped off, because I think it is worth what she paid for it, but just, I thought it was a little bit unfair. A little bit unfair that they dropped the price so quickly straight after. That was crappy. Anyway, a lot of the issues that people raised with the system have now been completely sorted out thanks to the BleemSync guys. So the really fun thing about being an early adopter was that I got to see the developments that took place over time. I'm part of the BleemSync Reddit group and played the 0.4 version of it. But basically, as far as I'm concerned, the system has been completely transformed now. It's a completely different kettle of fish. You can add whatever games you want onto here really intuitively. And the great thing is that they've integrated RetroArch like a backend. So you can play the games just like they would have come out of the box. You're using the same user interface, but in the back things a little bit different. And you don't actually have to see that if you don't want to, but of course you can bring up the RetroArch menu. But what that means is that you can make some of those performance enhancing things that people were griping over very easily. So it's really easy, for example, to set your games to play in 60 frames per second, run the NTSC versions, and so that's what you're seeing here. And after I did that, I've got to say, I do notice a big difference. It's actually amazing that I was playing the jerky PAL frame rate crippled version, because actually I now am noticing that it plays so much more smoothly since changing it. So there's no gripes in terms of performance now. Everything runs exactly as you want it. You can enable all of the RetroArch enhancements, like enhanced resolution if you want to, and just have it as you want it. And if you've got gripes about the games, you can add them super easily now. You just add them on there like you would adding ROMs to, say, a flash cart or something. It's just fantastic. So it's been great for me to add some of my old favorites on and modify the system to my heart's content. The way it works is you basically stick a USB in the second player port and just go from there. Super easy. And there's lots of custom UIs you can use, and you can just tweak to your heart's content. I think for £50, the way that the product is now, it's an absolute steal. And to me, I think it's a must-have. I don't still hold on to my old manual PlayStation collection. It was one that, I've said this before, it was back in the day when I used to have to get rid of games to get new games kind of thing. But actually I think I also gave away a lot of my PlayStation games. It just didn't, the notion of collecting games back then wasn't there. But, increasingly I feel like I have to focus on collecting only a small number of systems now. I can't just keep adding and adding and adding. There is a limit to what you can be doing. I don't have the space to now decide to start collecting a PlayStation physical copy collection. So for me, it's like, this is just perfect. You can fit so many games on one single small USB disc, and away you go, and there's all the nostalgia. I've been discovering some great games that actually come with the system. I think the really cool thing is that it comes with 2 controllers, so like I would have done at Christmas many years ago, can play it with my brother straight away out of the box, enjoy some multiplayer action. And the really fun thing has been playing a Super Puzzle Fighter, which is just fantastic. And I've not tried to play 2-player versions of any of the ROMs. I think it is possible. The way you'd have to do that is using a USB hub kind of thing. I remember this mission. You got to put put this big truck in the middle of the precinct, and then get the hell out of there before it all blows up. See if I actually manage it. Oh god, I nearly got myself run over. Can I have one of those cars? It's funny, still after all these years, the knowledge of which cars go fast and which ones are slow just stays. And the thing I've always loved about the original GTA is the radio stations are great. I really like the music on this game. And it's funny, but I think that often you see the game that you played originally with rose-tinted spectacles. Like, I know that arguably you could say GTA 2 has got better performance, better graphics, maybe even better mechanics, but it just doesn't come near. What do I need to do? I need to go say hello to this guy. It doesn't come near because this is the one that was nostalgic for me. This is the one that I remember. This is the one that I always want to come back to. And it's so much fun. Alright, we've got to stalk Sonetti's lawyer here and then kill him. So I think the funny thing is that I just knew this was going to happen. I thought it was really obvious that it was going to happen, which was kind of why I was thinking for a long time, why is everybody ragging on this system so bad? It's obvious that it's been left open for hacking. And I had no doubt that it would happen. The thing is, the SNES and NES classics were actually pretty damn good out of the box, and the hacking was just an added bonus. With this system, the hacking was... Alright, I've got to shoot these guys. The hacking was actually really necessary to make the system worthwhile. And I think that is a bit slack on the part of Sony. God, the shooting mechanics do not work well on this. But nevertheless, more power to the people for picking it up and turning it into something that we could be proud of. And the work of the BleemSync guys is just incredible. God, that was not easy. But yeah, the funny thing was, when it turned out that PlayStation had left some of the encryption keys on the actual system, it just became increasingly apparent that it was just... I think they rushed it out to get it out there before Christmas. They didn't rush the creation of the system in terms of the physical device and the hardware. The physical hardware is great. It's like a souped-up Raspberry Pi 3B, which is a great bit of kit. I'm going awry here. Talking and playing, not easy. But they rushed the infrastructure, the software, and the ROMs, but left it open for someone else to finish it off. And I think, fair enough. It worked out. It worked out, and it's not great relying on the homebrew community to sort out your stuff. But what we've ended up with is just, it's lovely and it's really fun. I've added on some of the games that I really used to love, like Speed Freaks. That was always one that I liked. I'm going to put Silent Hill on because that's just a classic. And it's fun seeing people, create the top 20 games that they would have chosen, create the PlayStation classics they would have wanted. And, all you really need is a decent PC, I've just died, and a USB stick. That's literally it. Right, let's see if we can finish this mission just for fun. The funny thing about GTA is that, as a kid, the levels seemed insurmountable because you have to get a million, I think a sweet million to finish the first level, then it's 2 million for the second and third. And as a kid, I was like, there is just no way I'm going to do that. And the reason why was probably because I used to cock the levels up so much, and you really do need to rely on passing the missions to get the dosh. That's one area where the PlayStation Classic I can't get my words out, is lovely. The save states are fantastic, and the save state system works on your own ROMs as well as anything else. This car is just a bit crap, which is why I'm not making this jump. Hopefully we'll get over it this time. I always find it really weird that the bottom of your car splashes on that jump. Surely your car's not anywhere near touching the water. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? I'm just distracting myself really badly. Oh, I had finished the mission. There's only one more to go. Yeah, as an adult, I found it a lot easier actually to do it. And if you run out of missions, then you just got to go for a bit of destruction. This is what I used to do as a kid. Just play for the sheer hell of it and kill everything. Anyway, just a few cents on my feeling on how BleemSync has saved PlayStation Classic. Feel free to join the Reddit community on PlayStation Classic. Look at modmyclassic.com, and if you're umming and ahhing about it, take it from me, I do not think you'll be disappointed, particularly at this current price point. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.